the straws. How about we stop pumping carbon dioxide into the air? How about we take the water that came from Lake Mead and actually put it back into Lake Mead instead of putting it into the ocean? How about we stop heating up the water and suffocating fish? How about that, California?
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, California.
Do you have any left-handed scissors?
I don't know, maybe. Okay, so this is the fun thing. You take your straw and you blow as hard as you can through the straw. Okay? Then you cut your straw in half and do the same thing. Is it easier to blow through a straw that's half as long or long? Yeah, it's easier to blow through a straw that's half as long. So, long straw, hard to blow through. Half a straw, easy to blow through. Okay, now blow through one straw. Now blow through two straws, same way. Easy to blow through one straw or two straws?
Two.
Really?
It's two.
Okay, try this in. And then two straws.
I think I'm just getting late.
Yeah. Easier to blow through one straw or two straws? Two straws, right? So electrons traveling through the wire do the same thing. If they want to get through the wire, it's easier for them to get through a thick wire, and it's easier for them to get through a short wire. Does that make sense? Now there's one thing we can't actually demonstrate, and that is temperature. Okay. I'm just going to throw my straws away over here. You can keep the straws if you want, or you can throw them away. Or you can basically chop them into pieces so that the turtles don't just die.
No.
Our trash doesn't go into the water. Our trash goes into a big pile. So we don't have to worry about that. Turtles! Anyway, so one thing I can't demonstrate is temperature. Temperature's effect on resistivity. Now, if you are trying to get down the hall, imagine you're an electron, and the hallway is a wire. If you're trying to get down the hall, and there's a bunch of chairs in the way, let's say there's one chair every couple feet. Is it gonna, guys, you pass out over there? No, just working on it. What's gonna be easier? Yeah. What's gonna be easier for you to get down the hall? If the chairs you have to avoid are moving, or if the chairs you have to avoid are staying in one place? Yeah, it's going to be easier to avoid the chairs if they're staying in one place. If the chairs are moving around, you're going to be like... Okay. Electrons do the same thing. It's easier for the electrons to get through material when the material are moving slowly. So as the temperature goes up, resistivity also goes up. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you're an electron trying to get through a wire, you like to get through short wires, thick wires, and cold wires. Ideally, that are made out of gold. Does this idea make sense? Okay. So that's my spiel on, we actually have a simulation, which now we're ready for wire resistance, but I want to continue on and I want to finish up the turn. Potentiometer is a variable strength resistor. It's a variable strength resistor, potentiometer. Yay, now we're ready for this lab. We'll do that tomorrow. So we'll do a simulation tomorrow. All right, so a potentiometer is a variable strength resistor. Do you guys have potentiometers? Do you use them on a daily basis?
I got one in my kit.
Yeah, what does a potentiometer do? I got one in each of my bathrooms. So when I get up in the morning and like at 1 o'clock, say I have to pee, like I have to see. So I don't go all the way up. I just go a little bit up.
Oh, those little pushy thingies?
Yeah. Dimmers. Dimmers are potentiometers.
Oh, I have.
Yeah, dimmers are potentiometers. They're variable strength resistors, where like you don't want the full blast when you're like 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah. Okay. Questions about? You have one too? Yeah. I have a pushy slidey. I pushy slideys. Okay. Questions about resistance? Yes.
Is there like a limit to the amount of current that can go through like a wire? Like it's like the best variables.
Absolutely.
And what is it?
It depends on the thickness of the wire. And that's not something that is in the scope of this course, the math behind it, but I will tell you what they are. They're called fuses. And you have a tiny wire, and that wire is rated to take so much current. When you drive in your car, near your left knee, there's a fuse box.
Yep.
These fuses have little numbers written on them. It's like, if this fuse has a 10 on it, and it gets 11 amps, the metal melts. And the circuit opens, and whatever is connected to it is just fine, in other words. So, if you plugged in your iPhone charger, that outlet, that little 12-volt outlet is rated for 5 amps. If something happened in your car and sent 8 amps into the iPhone charger, your iPhone charger or your iPhone would basically take damage. Make sense? So there's a fuse there, so the 8's like, 8 amps, I'm gonna do some damage! And it hits the fuse, goes through the fuse melts, and now no more current can go through. And you're like, oh no, my iPhone charger's not working. Oh, put a new fuse in. Okay, you know what fuses are, right? In houses, we have breakers. Breakers are rated at 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, and 50 amps. So a breaker works like, we'll talk about this in a little bit greater detail, since you mentioned it. A breaker is a reusable fuse that uses an arm on a spring. So basically, you force the arm in on a spring, and it latches. And there's a little latch that holds the spring, or holds the arm down, but it's spring loaded. If there's too much current in that latch will pull away from the spring, and the spring will throw the arm open, and the circuit won't be complete anymore. This is what happens when you put a fork in a toaster, and you shorted it out, and all of a sudden, so instead of the toaster drawing 30 amps, or actually, instead of the toaster drawing 10 amps, it's drawing 50 amps, so the fuse blows. But it's not a fuse, it's a breaker. So a breaker is a usable fuse. Those are in your bathroom, your garage, kitchen, laundry room. Some people's houses, if you have an old enough house, it's on the outside of the house. It's in my garage. But yeah, so you basically use a piece of metal that acts a certain way under a certain current and acts a different way under a larger current. Okay. AC/DC. Anyone know who that guy is? It's Mr. DC.
Yes.
Edison. Yeah. This is Edison. Anyone know who this is? Tesla. Yeah.
It's Elon Musk.
Yes, this is the Elon Musk of the 19th century. That's that. It's the 19th century Elon Musk. Yeah.
Didn't he go to the World Fair and he made the light bulb work without, like he held the light bulb and made it work without?
Possibly. He did like using AC fields, AC inducting fields, which we'll talk about when we get to magnetism. So it's entirely possible. Yeah. Not up in my trivia, but we'll say sure. Yeah. You know more about the trivia than I do, so. I will say, yeah, Nikola Tesla was into AC induction fields. This is what happens when you charge your cell phone on that little pad. Okay, it's using an AC induction field. But we can talk about that more when we get to magnetism. All right, so AC and DC. So direct current, like I mentioned last time, is what your devices like to use. I drew a little diagram with 2 lines. So there's current going in, positive going that way, negative going that way. Positive charges are going from high potential to low potential. Negative charges are going from low potential to high potential. That's direct current. Devices like direct current. So direct current is what you get out of a chemical reaction. So batteries are sources of direct current. Almost all devices work on direct current. Fans being an obvious exception. So the animation here, this is an AC generator, but it's not actually doing anything. It's all producing battery current. Oh, and these are electrons, by the way. In our animation, these are electrons because they're going from the positive to the negative, or going from the negative to the positive. So, anyway. Your house is wired in alternating current. Alternating current, basically positive, negative, alternating 60 times a second. Positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward. That's alternating current. In the United States, it's 60 hertz. In Europe and Japan, it's 50 hertz. Europe and Asia. It's North America, it's 60. I don't know why.
Does that mean phones like charge slower?
Yes. Yeah. They in Europe and Asia, the wall power, the wall electricity is 100 volts at 50 hertz, and ours is 110 volts at 60 hertz. So yes.
We charge faster.
Well, the same device plugged in, the same device with an adapter plugged in Europe will charge slower. What they'll do is they'll just have a stronger adapter. I mean, yeah. So alternating current is not useful for anything but a fan. Again, we'll talk about alternating motors when we get to magnetism at the very, very, very end of the year. We'll talk about why AC is good for fans and motors, and why AC power is what's coming out of the dam. DC power is coming from my roof into my device, and then they change it to AC. But yeah, AC is not really good for anything but motors, but it is really good for sending it over long distances. So the power lines that take power from a substation and send it to your house, those are AC, because AC power is really good over long distances. Not useful in devices. So what's that crazy block doing? I have like a bunch of them out here. What's this crazy block doing that I plug into the wall? So this thing functions on DC. But what comes out of the wall is AC. It says input AC 120V 60Hz 165 mH. So 120 volts, 60 hertz, 165 milliamps. Output DC 12V 12W. 12V, 12 volts, 12 watts. When I plug it in, the AC coming out of the wall gets converted to DC at the device can use. Elements of a circuit diagram. No, we're going to stop there. Yeah, we're going to stop right here. Okay. So we have now done everything we need.